Freeman Boat Works and Trilogy Outdoors are proud to announce the addition of Freeman Boat Works to our family of incredible partners. Billy Freeman and his team at Freeman Boat Works epitomize the American dream. From building the first boat in Billy's backyard to a 150,000 square foot state-of-the-art manufacturing plant over the past 15 years, they are building one of the most sought-after boats in the U.S. and beyond. These incredible fishing platforms are built in South Carolina and are second to none in stability, speed, and performance overall. These catamaran designs are engineered not only to get you to the fish fast, but comfortably too. Years of refining designs and pioneering the modern performance fishing catamaran is why Freeman Boat Works is the #1 choice for some of the biggest names in the fishing industry. If it's long runs in the Gulf or the Carolinas, or days you can go fishing in South Florida when most center consoles stay at the dock, Freeman Boat Works is at the forefront in all categories. For more information on Freeman Boat Works and their 6 available models, visit www.freemanboatworks.com. Redefine your expectations. Michelob Ultra and Myrtle Beach wholesaler Southern Crown Partners Incorporated know our consumers enjoy relaxing days on the water with Mick Ultra's crisp and refreshing taste in hand. It's important to remember to drink and boat responsibly. Choose to be or to designate a sober skipper before leaving the dock. Do it for your family and friends, your passengers, and everyone else on board. Michelob Ultra salutes all sober skippers who take the pledge. Cheers, and we'll see you on the water.
In Myrtle Beach, you always go at your own pace. Lie out on the sand, lie out by the pool, go boogie boarding, go surfing, walk the boardwalk, walk the marsh walk, golf at one of 90 golf courses, mini golf at one of 50 mini golf courses, fish off a pier, fish from a chartered boat, go shopping, get drinks, eat the freshest seafood. The list is exhaustive, but the experience isn't. You can go all out or do nothing at all. How you relax is up to you. There is so much to do and explore, whether you're traveling with friends, family, or just yourself. With 60 miles of beach, you're going to find your place. If this sounds like what you need, then this is where you belong.
Trilogy Outdoors.
All right, folks, it's time for Trilogy Outdoors Podcast. We're coming back to you this week, episode number 85. And we're going to go crazy this week. You know, last year we had Tom Evans with us.
Yeah.
World's Strongest Man was right here on the Grand Strand, and they're back again.
They're back again. Yeah, they're going to be competing this week. And the final, I think, is Sunday.
That's right.
Sunday, which is May something?
Sunday would be May 5th.
May 5th. You're supposed to be my computer.
I know, I'm sorry.
My calculator.
I thought that's why we hired your dad.
Yeah, well, we should, yeah, if my dad was
I thought your dad was going to be our fact checker.
He's like our Google.
Yep.
Yeah, you need to be able to
I've missed
tell me.
Mr. Steve, and speaking of which, you know, we were not timely in reaching out to the young man who was attacked by the alligator. No, I'm not laughing at that. I mean, but it was quit laughing.
Yeah, you the one that started it.
The man that was attacked by the alligator in the Cooper River doing exactly what y'all do. And even my wife was the first one to reach out and said, y'all got to get him on there now. Well, guess where he was? Good Morning America last week.
Oh, we missed it.
We missed it. Anyway.
We'll get him. We'll get him on.
We'll get him.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we got all kinds of stuff to talk about today. But we're going to start with a new guest you got. Let's introduce him. And I'm going to see you do his name. Let's see how this goes.
All right, Mark. How about that? Mark.
What about Joe Eno?
Joe Eno.
That's right.
Joe Eno.
Mark Joe Eno. Perfect.
That's right.
You did a great job.
Thank you so
pronouncing it.
much. Yes, I got.
You know what? I'm just going to start calling him Poncho.
Poncho. That's a new
Yeah,
one.
did you ever watch it?
No.
You ever watch the show?
Pancho Villa?
No, Poncho, the Highway Patrol at Chips.
Oh, the Chips.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
Eric Estrada.
Chips. Well, I watched the original.
Exactly. Thank you.
I watched the original. I never watched the second one. Yeah, the original was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second one not so much.
Well, Mark ended up loving law enforcement so much that he has retired, moved down here, and now he's going back to work.
That's right.
You were a New York City detective in the morgue.
Yes.
Exciting job.
That does not sound like fun.
It wasn't, but it grows on you.
How long were you there?
I was assigned to the morgue from 2018 until I really retired in 2023.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, I couldn't even. I mean, we could definitely do like 5 episodes talking about that job.
We could. And I want to do – so I wanted to introduce Mark, but before we get into Mark's job we need to get one of the new world's strongest men on the line.
Yeah, we're going to get him on, and that's Adam Bishop.
Adam English, you've read Adam's bio.
I did, and I love how he calls himself the small man.
Well, as weird as that is, he might be a smaller guy in the world's strongest. That doesn't mean he's not one of the world's strongest men, but he might be. I mean, if you compare, he's what, 6'3" or 6'4", 340 pounds. Some of these guys are 6'8", 6'9",
Yes,
and 400-plus pounds. So
how big was Tom? I can't remember. He was also a smaller one.
He was in that size range.
Yeah, Tom Evans joined us last year. I think it was episode 38 or 39, 40 something around there.
Yeah.
And you and I got to meet him. He came to the house, and we did the show together. The kids absolutely in the neighborhood fell in love with him.
Super nice guy.
Yeah, he was his leg was as big as the senator.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the senator's legs. I'm talking about the senator.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like that. It was unbelievable.
wow.
Yeah, big guy. But this year we're talking to Adam Bishop.
Yeah, we're going to have Adam on.
Who's the two-time Britain's strongest man.
Yep.
Which I think is what's propelled him into the world's strongest man competition.
Right.
I know he's got a bio longer than that, but he can tell us a little bit about it when we get him on the line.
He does, and I really find it cool. And Mark kind of, reacted to it as well. But he was also a professional skeleton. He was a skeleton, I think, what do you call it, skeleton bobsled racer.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's a lot of power that's involved in that. If
And
you look at all that bobsled, that initial – move is where everything sets up the whole course.
And rugby as well.
And rugby, yeah.
All right, well, let's get him on the line.
Go ahead. Pull him on.
Let me see if I can get him on the line here.
Mark, we're very coordinated here, trust me. In the real world, we would have someone in the back room that she would have had him on, or he.
You hear that?
He doesn't need someone in the back.
Is that how the phone rings in Great Britain? He's here. Yeah.
Well, he's on WhatsApp, though.
Good day.
Hello, Adam.
Hello, how we doing?
How good. We tried to make fun of your accent there.
Good day, Adam. How are you?
I'm not sure it was any good.
Good day. I'm not Australian, mate.
I know. Hey, way to call me out, brother. Way to call me out.
Hey, thanks for joining us. We this is the second year in a row that we've done this and had a great time. We talked to Tom Evans last year.
Yep.
Super good guy, nice guy. But, I told Tom I wanted to talk to a winner, and so that's why we're calling.
Oh, my God.
Oh, wow.
You know what? I'm going to text
Tom.
Tom right now.
That's cold.
That's
isn't it?
terrible.
That's cold. And I just had a good feeling about you. I had a good feeling about you. I looked up your stats, and I said, that's a winner right there.
Yep.
Let's talk to him. Plus the fact that your promoter told us you like to do a lot of fishing. So that's the other thing that got
That's
you.
the other thing.
That's the other thing that got you over to the line. So tell us a little bit about you. What's your bio like?
Yeah, so I'm Adam Bishop. I'm from the UK. We're over in Myrtle Beach for this week, competing at the World's Strongest Man competition. Second year running, we're in Myrtle Beach, which is pretty awesome. The weather's a bit better than it is at the UK at the moment as well, so I'm very happy to be here.
I bet. Yeah.
As I said, in my spare time, I try and do as much fishing as I can. It's a lot different to the fishing over here. I've actually been in the States for a couple of weeks now. I was up in Boston for a bit, and didn't get to do any fishing up there. But I know you guys are big on your bass fishing over here, which is something that I've never actually done. But I'm keen to have a go at some point. But yeah, the fishing back home's, we fish for carp, which is a bit of a trash species, I believe, over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we like to fish for it. They grow pretty big in the UK. The carp, they fight pretty hard, and you can spend days and days next to a lake trying to chase them around and trying to nail that one fish. So
I watched something about the carp fishermen of the UK, and it's a huge thing over there.
It's massive.
It's massive. I've got friends here that actually had sponsors, big sponsors.
Yeah.
And they traveled over there to go fish in the World Carp Fishing Championship, and I'm telling you, it's like the Bassmasters Classic. And they're standing around a pond.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
With marked areas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably the most popular form of of coarse fishing in the UK, the freshwater species. I'd say in the UK at the moment, we've got a lot of gravel pits out there. Stuff that's been dug out to make freeways and highways and stuff like that. So there's plenty of space for the carp to live. They fight pretty hard, and now we've got a lot more commercial lakes where the fish have been stocked there, just for that purpose. So it's probably the most easily accessible form of fishing, and it's really boomed in the UK, especially since 2020 and everything that went on after that time. People kind of wanted to get outside and get fishing. So yeah, it's gone massive in the UK.
Yeah, I mean the fishing and the boating community really was a beneficiary of the COVID era. I mean here, the boats. I mean we're a huge in South Carolina is a huge boat manufacturing state, and our boat manufacturing business just boomed after COVID. And still is, and the RV business did too, by the way, Inglis. I don't know if you watched any of that, but I mean, we also have lots of campgrounds and RVs, recreational vehicles that sold out and became a huge thing. So when you're fishing with carp in the UK, and I genuinely would like to hear about your strongman stuff in a minute, but
I do want to hear about this.
I
hate to say it.
Yeah.
I want to hear about the carp fishing.
I gotta understand carp a little bit more. So you're fishing with like bread type stuff? Is that how you?
No. It's you can fish with bread. They will take bread off the surface, which is a pretty exciting way of doing it. But no, you're basically laying little traps for them. You're putting bait out, like sweet corn's a very popular bait.
Yep.
We've got things called boilies, which is like a boiled paste, which is a bit of a tougher bait. So like stuff you've got crayfish in the water, they don't annihilate your baits. But yeah, sweet corn's a killer bait. Yeah, boilies, some particles like tiger nuts and Brazil nuts and stuff like that are very good as well. And you'll basically, you'll ledger it on the bottom. You'll find where the fish are feeding. You'll find the harder spots in the lake where the fish have been feeding. And you'll put, large beds of bait out. Sometimes you put in, if I'm fishing for a 24-hour session, maybe 5 to 10 kilos, I'll be chucking out of bait, which is what, 10 to 25 pounds of bait to get the fish in there feeding, because these things like their food. They eat a lot of bait, and you want them to be in the area and competing, and then one of them will slip up and take that hook, and then you're in for a little battle then.
A little battle. Okay.
I'll tell you what, I've seen some of the battles, and it's pretty extreme. I mean, they get big.
What size? What's your tackle like? Your terminal tackle and then let's talk about rod and reel.
Yeah, so terminal tackle, I'll tend to use a fluorocarbon most of the time.
Okay.
Maybe 20-pound breaking strain fluorocarbon. If I need to stack it up, if I'm going and fishing like some snag fishing, I'll bump it up to like a 30-pound braid. And then I'm going down to a size 4 hook, like a long shank hook. And then I'm just putting like a hair rig off the end of that hook, so the bait is a little bit of separation between the bait and the hook. So I'm not actually hooking any baits onto the hook itself.
Yeah.
I'm keeping that hook clear to turn over and hook straight into the carp's mouth, and then coming up off of that, I'm using kind of big pit reels, which are like your kind of beach reels, really, because you need to be able to cast a long way. And then 12 or 13 foot rods most of the time. You're talking about like a 4-pound test curve. I use 3.5s, and we're kind of pumping it out into the lake. 130 yards, 140, 50 yards. For some of the much longer range fishing. So the tackle's got to be pretty strong. These carp are very powerful. They go up to around 60, 65 pounds in the UK. But they fight hard. It doesn't really matter what weight they are. They really go hard in the lake and try and get away from you.
So it sounds a lot, Inglis. It sounds a lot like beach fishing to me, like shore fishing.
I've watched it, and it is. I mean, they're fishing with. I didn't hear you say length, but for us, I think 12 to 14 foot might be short for some of the rods that y'all use, isn't it?
No. Yeah, we use 12 footers or 13 footers. Yeah, they're pretty standard. You wouldn't use a longer rod than that because of obviously around the lake there's a lot of trees.
Okay.
So you're not going to be going for your massive kind of beach caster rods like you would in sea fishing.
Yeah.
But like a 12 foot. I've even got some little 9 foots that kind of fit in the back of the truck real nice that I'll use if I'm not having to cast a long way. But it's like you end up with a whole a whole setup, loads of different rods, loads of different reels, and
Yeah.
before you know it, you're kind of hiding your tackle from the missus, from the wife. Otherwise,
There
she'll
you
find out
go.
how much money you've spent.
We know the problem.
We know the problem.
We
is
know it exactly.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
No.
Different tackle, different stuff, but exactly the same problem.
And they don't understand, do they? The
No.
wives and
No, they
girlfriends,
don't.
get it.
No, I bet not.
You got to compare it to shoes. Our
Yeah.
rods and their shoes. That's a
you let me know how
perfect
that.
comparison.
Let me know how that works out.
It doesn't work out well for me ever. And I actually made money with my rods and reels. I was a guide, and my wife still never understood the difference.
Yeah.
Never understood it.
So you're obviously making money in the world's strongest man competition, right? I mean, you guys, you've competed. You're the British. What's the term?
He's the two-time Great Britain's strongest man.
Great Britain's strongest man.
2020 and 2023. Yep.
Okay, and 2020, 2023. Did you compete in 2022?
I did. I just came up against a little guy you might know him, a guy called Tom Stoltman, who's he also won the world's strongest man in 22 and 21. So he's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
So
from the same country as me. So yeah, he won it those 2 years, and then I managed to get the title back in 2023.
That's excellent. So that's the reason I was asking, because it's always nice to win, at least from a spectator's position, probably not from your position, but to watch somebody win, get it taken away from them, and then get it back. It's always a great thing to see from a spectator position. Okay, so talk to me a little bit about what's your training routine look like nowadays? Can you give us a little bit of that out?
Yeah, so I'm full time with this now, so it's my job.
Yeah.
Previously, I was a strength coach at a rugby union side, so similar to like the NFL over here. We've got the Premiership Rugby, and I was their strength coach. But then left that in 2021 to give me some more time to train, and I'll train 4 or 5 times a week. The sessions are quite long, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours with the event sessions, and we're having to train your usual stuff you'll see in the gym, like your deadlifts and your squats, your overhead presses, but also these weird and wonderful events, like the Atlas Stones, where we're lifting these big granite boulders, or we're even doing truck pulls in training, where we're borrowing, semis to pull down the road, and frame carries, and you have to be ready for pretty much anything at World's Strongest Man. They like to throw bigger and better events at us. So yeah, it's probably the hardest competition to train for.
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I wanted to jump in on that, because it is so difficult to try to anticipate. I guess it is try to anticipate what you're going to be thrown at. I mean, do you have a gym that's got a semi-truck in the back that y'all just like?
Yeah, because remember Tom was involved at the University of Maryland or at a college. He was a strength coach, and he had to use the athletic bus to practice, and actually would put the students, some of the athletes on the bus to practice.
Yeah, so how do you deal with all the variety of different things? I mean, do you have a gym that accommodates all this? Or?
I've got a lot of kit. So over the years, I've been doing strongman now for 14 years. This is my 9th World's Strongest Man competition, and you tend to, in the same way you collect fishing tackle, I've collected strongman equipment. So I've got all this kit. Most of it's made by a fabricator. It's bespoke pieces, not this kind of stuff you can buy online.
Right.
And then when it comes to stuff like truck pulls, I'm very lucky. My setup that I train at is based on a farm, and also on the farm is a removals company. And a haulage company. So if I need to borrow tractors or semis and stuff like that, there's an abundance of those that I can kind of jump on and do some training.
I got you. Okay, so you're training. You're not training at a traditional gym. You're training at a yeah, right. I mean, this is a farm. This is a farm that's got a bunch of stuff set up.
Yeah, so I've got 2 gyms. I've got one at my house, which when myself and the wife moved into a house in 2019, that was the only thing I cared about. I was like, just need some space that I can have my own gym here.
Yeah.
So we converted the barn into that. I do most of my training in there, and then I've got a lock-up on the farm where I do all my kind of weird and wonderful kind of strongman training with all the odd objects. I don't mind if it gets dirty or stuff gets broken. We don't get any noise complaints from horses and stuff. So yeah,
right.
we can do what we want out there.
So you can holler and scream. You don't get the lunk alarm like they have at the Planet Fitness.
You know, I've heard about this. I've meant to go.
Is that
into one of
really?
these
They do have that?
Oh yeah, they've got it. Yeah, I got kicked out of one.
The grunt alarm.
Yeah, lunk alarm. You can't holler, you can't yell, you can't even grunt at a Planet Fitness, or else the lunk alarm goes off. This is one of the reasons I built the gym in my house. Yeah.
I think I'd be chucked out of one of those places within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Not allowed to use chalk in gyms?
No, you can't.
Wow.
You can't use chalk in Planet Fitness. You can't do any. Yeah, I mean, strongman would not be welcomed in somewhere like Planet Fitness, I don't think.
Wow.
No, for sure.
So you've got two different gyms. You said one's at your house, one's at the farm. The one at the farm is where you can sort of be elaborate, and you can do all the weird and wonderful things that strongmen make you to do. But at your house, you're sort of set up with like a squat rack and the traditional stuff.
Yeah, so I've got a very versatile power rack in there, a lifting platform, loads of different barbells. I've got a leg press, a leg curl, a chest press, and then a dumbbell rack, and some other little kind of strongman bits that I might need on a kind of day-to-day basis. A cable setup, but that's what I'd kind of say is that's all your bread and butter training is done at home. I've got everything I need in there that you probably need in the home gym, and it's crammed in there. There's not much space for any more equipment, unfortunately. So maybe we'll have to extend it at some point.
So do you ever have? I mean, at your home gym, well, really at either, do you have somebody that works out with you that can spot you, or are you just sort of you working out on your own for the most part?
Yeah, sometimes I'll train on my own. I'm quite used to that. I mean, when I worked at the rugby club, I'd get up early and train at 5 a.m. And then kind of go through my work day, and that was pretty grim doing heavy deadlifts at 5 a.m., 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got a training partner who will come and train with me and help spot and everything, and help with because when you get to our level of strength, there's a lot of plates, right?
Yeah.
You're putting a lot of plates in the bar, which means you also got to take all those plates off. So that's pretty hard work, because it's kind of half the workout, half the battle in itself is putting everything away after you finish lifting it.
Yeah.
So you do need a little bit of help with that, and I've got a training partner who comes up and trains with me, and a couple other guys who help me out over on the farm.
Well, I would guess you have to. I'm what I would call a novice power lifter. I'm getting up there in age now where I shouldn't be powerlifting at all, but like I enjoy it, right? Like, I mean, it's my cathartic way of getting away, and I hate cardio. I just hate it. I hate it with a passion. I've had to do it my whole entire life. I went to the Citadel, which was a military college. Then I went, into the Army after that, and that just my entire life I've had to run because the military makes me run, but I hate it. I despise it with a passion. If I could just lift every single day, I'd be a happy man, and I'd be much stronger because I wouldn't have wasted, 45 minutes or an hour a day times 4 or 5 days a week having to run. And so, I'm sort of especially compared to you, I'm a novice, okay? But what I've learned the older I get in life, the more I have to either rely on a spotter or back off, because my ego, I'm at that age right now where
not your ego.
My ego and my body aren't meshing, right? Like my ego, up to about 5 years ago, my ego and my body were still meshing. Like they were lockstep, doing well. I knew exactly where I needed to be, where I wanted to go, and how to do that. And today, they aren't meshing.
During COVID, I got to say, during COVID, I had not seen you for like 5 months.
Yeah.
You showed up to do the radio show with us, to do our radio show, and you got out the truck, and everybody sitting there with us was like, who the hell is that?
Yeah.
I mean, he had, but I mean, it was proportionate. It was, I mean, you could tell. I mean, that was when you were stuck at home. We were all stuck at home.
Yeah, there was nothing else to do. I was in the gym every single day and like 3 or 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
And you don't go out to eat that much, so you eat at home a lot, and you can eat well. And now, now the opposite of that's true. But anyway, I guess what I was saying was, how old are you, by the way, Adam?
I'm 35.
All right, so I'm 7 years older than you. Inglis is, let's not tell you anybody how old Inglis is, but he's a lot older than you. So around 37 or 38, I started, recognizing that my ego wasn't matching up with my my abilities anymore. And that's a real hard thing for me to comprehend as a person, just like I guess I should say as a man. I'm not sure women.
Yeah.
I'm not sure women have the same ego problems that we do.
They don't.
Yeah, I mean they're much more evolved than we are in that way. But have you? I'm sure you've dealt with injuries, having lifted heavy weight all your life. But I mean, do you ever get to that point where you know what, my ego's just it's taken over here? I need to back off and use a little common sense, or I'm not going to be able to walk for the next month. Do you get that?
No, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I've had some pretty significant injuries. In 2017, I tore my bicep off the bone. That had to be surgically reattached. And then more recently in 2022, I tore my tricep off the bone as well. So that had to be reattached by the same surgeon. He got his money worth out of me.
Yeah.
You know, you get these injuries, and the biggest thing I can say is just change the focus. You know, if your ego's come in and it's not really feeling safe with a certain lift, you just change the lift and change the focus on what you want to do, and you can always find something to progress. You know, even if you can't progress a heavy squat anymore, well, maybe you can progress a single leg step up or a lunge or a single leg press or something else, you know, and get progress that way. Because, you know, if you change that focus, you can still progress for years and years. It's not a case of, you know, the great thing with weight training is, you know, you can keep doing it and keep going and going, you know, as long as you're alive. And it's a really, really beneficial thing that the anti-aging properties of weight training are well documented.
Yeah.
You know, it does make you harder to kill. So, you know, weight training is super, super important for everyone, in my opinion.
So,
I think, you know, that's the best thing to say is just, you know, if something is getting, you know, you can't lift because your ego's getting in the way of that one lift, change the lift, focus on something that maybe you're not good at, and you can just get small gains throughout the whole time.
All right, so I'm glad you said that. I bought into this idea many years ago, and I'm still not quite over over it. But I bought into this idea many years ago that the three most important lifts are bench, squat, and deadlift. I mean, to me, those were the three. Like those were the three that I needed to show improvement on. Really, at the end of every year. You know, I had a sort of a building program and a cutting program. My cutting program, not nearly as good as my building program. But, you know, at the end of every year, I wanted to see some improvement in bench, squat, and deadlift. And today, as a 42-year-old man that has broken his back and torn a pectoral muscle and a rotator cuff off his shoulder and has 13 bones and has arthritis and 13 bones broken and arthritis, and it just hurt. Every day I get up, I hurt. I think I think less and less that, no, it's not correct. I still think those things in my mind are important. And I just think about how do I do those things in a more safe way. And every day I become more and more disappointed that I'm not able to do those things to the same ability that I was last year and the year before. I'm going in the opposite direction. And to me, that's a very disheartening, frustrating thing as a guy that always worked on, you know, getting stronger every year. Now I'm literally getting weaker every year, at least in the last year. I'm maybe exaggerating that because last year I had a bad injury. I was deployed with the Army in Africa, and I tore my pectoral and my rotator cuff off my shoulder. And so that you know, that for 4 months solid, I was unable to do hardly anything. And and that put a pause in my lifting. And I know you said you tore your bicep and your tricep off of your arm, and that puts dead stop, puts a stop in your lifting. But you know, you got to come back from that at some point in time, and you got to start showing gains and maybe gains is the wrong word. You got to start showing. I believe you got to start showing improvement at some point in time. If you let the old man creep in, he will. He'll show up tomorrow. If you say, I'm done, the old man will show up tomorrow. And you're in for a really sad ride for the next year. How do you keep the old man, how do you keep the old man away? I mean, and no offense. I mean, you're 35, so you're not quite there, but I'm telling you, man, you start aging pretty quick between 30 and 40, and then 40 to 50 is even faster. So how do you keep the old man away?
Yeah, so I work with some masters athletes as well in strongman. I do a little bit of coaching with them, help them out with their programming, and it's the same thing for them. I find that I need to rotate their exercises in the gym a lot more than I would with a younger guy. like you said, like you can hammer the hell out of squat, bench, and deadlift, when you're young,
Yeah.
and your joints are fine. You manage to improve it all the time, but there will come a time when you'll just get diminishing returns off of that. And the key is to change how you're measuring strength. Strength is just you can say someone's strong in a very very varying ways. If it's just how you measure it, right? You
Yep.
can say someone's really strong because they've got a strong deadlift, or maybe you think that a bench press or an incline bench press or a leg press is how you measure strength, or a bicep curl. So what I would say is change the variation for a while. If you keep hammering the same movements, you are not going to progress.
Yeah.
That goes for any age, but especially as you get older. So for me, I'd be changing the lifts. Maybe moving to either a decline bench press, which is a lot more kinder on the shoulders, or maybe a machine press and progress a machine press that way. Or if instead of a squat, push your leg press or your hack squat or a machine. These machines that we do see are designed to save joints a lot more. That's what the purpose of them are. And if you can utilize them, you can keep training, and not beat up yourself so much. And I think rotating exercise as we get older is key for that as well, because it allows you to keep progressing and you don't stagnate as much. And like I said, it gives you that motivation to train when you're getting results in the gym.
So, I've always been a fan of compound movements, but the compound movements, the big, heavy compound movements, are the ones that always seem to get me in trouble. If I'm going to injure myself, if I'm going to hurt my back and it's going to take me out of the gym for 3 or 4 weeks, it's going to be on a big, heavy compound movement. And so, I have been really for the last 6 months since I've been home and got over my injury, I've been focusing on, isolating movements, but I'm just not seeing the results that I think that I should be seeing. And so I feel like you're right. I mean, I guess the holdup in my mind is, I set up my gym as a younger man that could still do heavy bench, dead, and squats, and that's the way my gym's set up. Like, I mean, one side is bench, the middle is deadlift, or I'm sorry, the middle is, well, let's start over. The left side is the right side is squats. The middle would be deadlifts, and the far left side would be bench. And so the whole gym is set up around bench, squat, deadlift, and you get some isolating stuff in between. But maybe it's time to just sort of admit and acknowledge, got a lot of injuries, getting older, and time to move to some machine work. I've just never been a fan of machine work, but at some point in time,
it could even be that if you're a home gym trainer and you don't have the access to certain machines, that you're going to push your pull up.
Yeah.
The pull-ups are a really underrated movement for back, and I'm sure you've done a lot of them if you've been involved in the military.
Yeah.
But you might decide that I'm going to see how far I can push my weighted pull-up, or how many pull-ups I can do. Weighted push-ups are a great movement, or weighted dips. Most people can do those in the home gym setup.
Yeah.
And then your squats, you might change the variation a little bit. It might go to a front squat or something like that, or even, like I said, a split squat or a single leg step up, and it gives you the ability to progress on a different movement. Like I said, the compound lifts are fantastic. They're big multi-joint lifts. They give fantastic bang for your buck, but they do wreck the body as well. They are, hard on the body. They give you great returns, but they are, stressful for your body from a central nervous point of view. Now, if you're healthy and everything's fine, I'd always push people to use these compound movements, because you will get much faster results because you're using these big movements. But if they are starting to cause issues, then there's no reason they have to stay in a program. The great thing with training is you can do whatever you want and get results. That's the great thing about it. So why not choose it? Why not choose a bodyweight exercise and just push it that way?
That's all great advice, and I appreciate it. We're, as men, we're such simple creatures in so many ways, and the ego is such a hard thing to overcome as you begin to get older. But but the advice is good, right? I mean, the advice is sound. Following the advice is going to be a challenge, but I do think it's sound advice. All right, so let me shift to you, sort of, and let's talk about your stats a little bit. I'd like to sort of know where you are in your lifting. Like what's a heavy squat day look like for you? Well, let's just say what's a max squat for you right now? Do you know?
Yeah, so my max squat's 380 kilos, which is that's 836 pounds.
836.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, so that's what I'll do in knee sleeves and a belt. But
Gotcha.
in strongman, the squat movement isn't as valued as much as the deadlift. So I actually spend a lot more time
That
pushing the deadlift and
that
overhead press.
yeah, that's what I was going to ask you next. So what's your dead look like today?
In competition, I've pulled 1,000, and yeah,
Wow.
we've got a big one. We've got a big deadlift later in the year. So I pulled 1,000 pounds back in 2021, and since then my deadlift is a lot stronger.
Excellent.
And like recently at Britain's, I pulled 880 for 5, with no suit, with no deadlift suit, so just raw with a belt and strap. So I'm in a good spot for the deadlift, and we're going to have a chance to max our deadlifts out later in the year in Vegas, of all places. So I'm looking forward to putting something really big there.
All right, what's an overhead press for you right now?
Overhead press, if you're looking at a log, is probably around 400 pounds. Yeah, traditionally the overhead pressing has actually been one of my weaker events. It's the one I work the hardest on, but it's probably the one I enjoy the most in training. So yeah, around that kind of 400 pound mark.
All right, and
Is where I'm at the moment.
and what's a bench look like for you?
Oh Jesus, I can't even remember the last time I benched.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
Me neither.
we don't do it.
yeah, it's not good for your joints or really your pec. I mean, a lot of people have been moving away from the traditional bench because of injuries. But
I typically like to increase the size of my fish that I'm targeting when I want to, increase any of that. That's what I do.
yeah, English
Yeah, that's the way forward.
English is
You
not.
just need to be
Hey,
strong
so
enough
when
to
do you-
hold them up for the camera.
Hey, so we didn't get permission to take you fishing before the contest. But when do you leave town? We
I
might
head out.
we might could slip you out before you leave.
Yeah, if you want to go, we'd
That-
love
that-
to take you.
That would be awesome. I think I might have a day off on the Friday, between the heats and the finals. So I mean that would be awesome. Apart from that, I think I'm flying out on the Monday, unfortunately. So I'm out straight away after the comp. But
So you're
let's see what happens. I'd love that.
You're talking about this Friday.
You guys are out on the water. You're out on the ocean for your fishing.
Yeah, we fit well. We've got creeks and inlets, and
Yeah.
we saltwater fish. I mean, we freshwater fish too. I mean,
We do both.
Sure.
We've got a river, Merle's Inlet, where we live. We've got a river on one side and the ocean on the other side, and so we've got a lot of opportunity to go on both. But I would say we focus on saltwater. I definitely focus on saltwater fishing.
Well, and I'll tell you right now that on Friday, if you want to go fishing, we can coordinate where you need to be, and we can come pick you up, and you can come fish with us for a couple hours, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
We're going to be on the water. Actually, Mark and I are going to be on the water,
Yeah.
fishing in a law enforcement inshore tournament. We'll come back, pick you up. You come fish with us, and for an hour, 2 hours, whatever, and bring you right back. We coordinate all that. So,
Yeah,
I'll come pick you up.
real simple.
That's awesome. What species are you going for when you're out on the sea on the
Well, we'll be targeting
like
flounder on Friday. Flounder, halibut, the flatfish with two
Yeah.
eyes on one side of the
Yeah.
head. That's what it's a tournament format, but we're going to also catch speckled trout and redfish, I would feel strongly, as bycatch, while we're targeting them. But the weather right now looks great, propriety, and the fishing has been incredible. So,
Really?
yeah,
Really?
if you were able to coordinate to get down here, I mean, I'm telling you how simple it is. Highway 17 brings you right down into Merle's Inlet. We can give you directions, and there's a friend of ours who guest hosts the podcast some, has a small marina, and we can pick you up right there at the marina, and you can come fish with us for however long, and then we'll bring you right back.
Yeah, or you can
Wow,
just
sounds great.
You get an Uber down here. We can send somebody.
Yeah, we'll send somebody to pick you up. Something. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
We'll get it sorted, guys. Yeah.
when we
Hopefully the comp's going well enough for me that I can have a day off and come and get some fishing done.
Well, when we get off the phone here, we'll get your we'll start
Contact.
we'll start texting with you, and we'll get you straight on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Hey, did I had to run out real quick, take a phone call, but did I miss anything on the skeleton? Because I really want to hear about that.
Skeleton's bobsleigh.
Yes,
Yeah.
I want to hear about that.
Tell us about that.
I mean, so I growing up, I played rugby in the UK. I played professionally for a year as well for a Premiership club, and then between going to university and that year, I got obviously released from my contract for the rugby before I was heading off to uni, and I did a talent ID event. So basically, they sent letters out to all the ex-rugby players, ex-soccer players who had been released by their academies. Come down. They did a load of physical testing. They were trying to then put us into Olympic sports because they Team GB are trying to win as many medals as possible. And so I went there and did the physiological testing. I was always a quick. I mean, we're talking, about 100 pounds in body weight ago now. when I was a lot lighter, not doing strongman. And I was a bit of a sprinter, and they put me forward to try out with the Team GB skeleton program. Skeleton bobsleigh, for anyone who's listening might not be aware, is effectively it looks like you're sliding headfirst down the ice on a tea tray. And it's probably I'd probably say it's like the safest out of skeleton bobsleigh and luge. But yeah, I mean, I did that for about 18 months. And then I got to a fork in the road where they basically said, look, we come out and we'll continue training, but you need to come away on the ice for basically 3 weeks of every month during the winter to learn how to slide and learn all the routes and everything. And I was in university, and I would have had to have made my university course part-time. And it wouldn't have worked out because it would have been an 8-year university degree with no guarantees. There's no guarantees in sport, especially Olympic sports. Your funding to be pulled at any time. So, yeah, it was an incredible experience. Got to slide down the ice at Winterberg a couple of times, and hitting 70 miles an hour head first is pretty exhilarating.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just after that. That's when I then got into strongman, and haven't really looked back ever since.
That's awesome.
I could see Steven doing that and loving with a big smile on his face the whole way.
Yeah, I've got the same adrenaline problem you do, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Do you know what the crazy thing is, right? I don't know if it's the same in the US as it is in Europe. You can go to any of these bobsleigh runs just as a member of the public. You can, sign a waiver, hire the kit, and slide. Wow. There's nothing else, you can. And the thing with skeleton bobsleigh, if you hold position, if you stay nice and stiff on the board, you'll make it to the bottom. You might be beat up a little bit from the curve.
You might be beat up a little bit.
Around a bit, but you'll get to the bottom fine. And it's crazy that anyone can, just give it a go.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So you obviously played rugby some as well. How's your cardio nowadays? Is it pretty good, even though you're 340?
Yeah, compared to how fit I was playing rugby, you'd probably describe it as terrible. But
yeah,
I'm fit enough for the sport I need to play, obviously, which is strongman. So I wouldn't survive many minutes on a rugby field, that's for sure, right now. But the demands of our sport is it's 60 seconds a lot of the time, a minute and a half of super high intense work,
right?
And then we've got a period to rest. So you match your body to the challenge you've got, and that's why we all come a little bit heavier. We still have to be able to perform, but it's very short bursts of really explosive work.
Well, it does seem like strongman is not just lifting heavy stuff. I mean, it does seem like there's some cardio involved.
No, it seems mental too. There's a lot of psychological side to it.
I mean, to me, it looks like there's more cardio than you would think in a strongman competition. And so I would imagine you do. And maybe all your cardio comes from practicing the sport itself. I mean, you probably don't spend any time on a treadmill or a bike, do you, or not much?
No, I walk. I think it's key to actually still move from a health benefit.
Yeah,
and it speeds up my digestion as well, which means I can eat more.
Right.
So if I go for walks in between meals, and I'll try and get my 10,000 steps in the day. Yeah. And then apart from that, you're 100% right. The rest of my conditioning comes from actually doing the events. If we're training for a sandbag medley where we've got to move 300-pound bags of sand down a course, we'll just do multiple runs of that, and that's how we build our fitness on that movement.
Yeah, okay. And that's so I mean, right now you're 340, right?
Yep.
All right. Would you say, I'm just curious, like I believe that, I mean, my body has the ability to get bigger and bigger and bigger. If I was to put 7,000-8,000 calories in it a day, I could get bigger and bigger, and I could lift and get bigger and bigger and bigger too. At some point in time, everybody stops, but I feel personally, I feel best around 230 or so. I'm probably more like 245 to 250 right now. And so I say to myself, feet don't feel good, knees don't feel great. I need to lose 15 or 20 pounds to feel like optimal. At 340, I mean, how do you feel? You feel pretty good, or do you feel like this is heavy for me?
No, I feel pretty good. I've been heavier in the past,
Yeah.
and it gets tough. It's like anything. When you put on that initial bit of weight, it's a shock to the body.
Yeah.
But then you get used to that new weight, and then you become more comfortable at it. Could I kind of walk up a mountain right now? Definitely not.
Yeah.
But I still feel fit enough to do most things in everyday life. I do laugh though. The better you get at strongman, the worse you get at life, because you get too big for things. You start breaking chairs.
Right.
You don't fit on airplanes. You've got to you've got to eat a load of food.
Well, how much are you eating, by the way? What's your calorie intake every day?
Yeah, so I'm around 7,500 calories at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's all from kind of what you describe as clean sources. So I have a lot of eggs, a lot of rice, beef, peppers, and then I have a whey protein and something called cream of rice as well, which is a very easily digestible carbohydrate source. And I'll just go through that. And most of the time I'll have a little bit more food on training days and a little bit less food on non-training days. Because obviously I'm not burning as many calories, but most of the time my food stays exactly the same every single day. You just get used to it, and that way you can control what you're eating. The food is the hardest bit.
Yeah.
With strongman, it's being consistent with that food. I think anyone can eat, 7,000 calories if they're just going to McDonald's or wherever and buying, some less than healthy options. But to actually consistently eat that same food every single day is quite challenging mentally and physically.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be getting 350 or 400 grams of protein a day, I would imagine.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, I aim for a gram per pound.
Yeah.
So 340 grams of protein, upwards of getting on towards 1,000 grams of carbs, and the fats stay quite relatively low at around 100 to 125.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like you could probably get the carbs, but to get 350 grams of protein in a day that's a challenge, right? I mean, you got to stuff it down your gullet whether you want it or not.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah, you go for stuff that's easy to digest. That's your beef mince.
Yeah.
And obviously your whey protein, eggs are very easy to digest. You're not going to be having, cuts of pork or any kind of quite rich venison or anything like that, just because for most people they'd struggle to digest that quite quickly.
Yeah.
You have to choose what you can kind of eat quickly, digest, so you can eat again kind of 2 hours later.
And are the sponsors able? I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
No, I was just curious if you did whole eggs, egg whites.
Oh yeah. Okay.
How many?
Yeah.
Whole eggs. Yeah, whole eggs. We're not afraid of the fats from the yolks. There's some really, really good nutrients in the yolks. So I'd rather do that and cut some of the fats from my other meals. I'll go for a leaner cut of beef mince, like a 5% fat beef mince, but keep the fats in my eggs in the morning, just because the quality of the nutrients in the yolks is far superior to anything else.
You do oatmeal?
I don't, and I used to, but my stomach can't handle oatmeal anymore.
Oh, wow.
It gives me some quite bad bloating, so I just avoid it. That's hence why I moved over to the cream of rice. Mm. Yeah.
And like, what's an omelet's like 12, 13 eggs or more?
Yeah, no, more like 10. I'll have 10 whole eggs in the omelette. Most of them I'll just actually kind of just fry them.
Cheese?
It's easy. I find it's easier to eat when you kind of count them down.
Yeah, right.
Rather than having a massive pile of like omelette or scrambled egg on your plate.
I got you.
How many meals do you eat a day? Sit down to?
6 meals, 6 full meals.
That's a full-time job.
I found that's the best for me. Yeah.
So if you like, let's say we were going to hang out today, okay, and I said let's go to Outback or Carrabba's or something, okay,
and you were going to pick the bill up.
Yeah, right. Are you just ordering 2 or 3 of whatever you get, or 2 or 3 meals while the rest of us eat one? Is that how you handle going out to eat, or?
Yeah. I mean, we'll eat out a lot less. But if I'm going out, I'll just basically choose. If we're going to Outback's easy because that's just steak and some white potato. It's really easy to work out what you're having. But most of the time, I'll ask for obviously no butter on it. Especially on the potatoes and stuff, just so you know exactly what you're eating.
Yeah.
But look, we will also have days. If I'm going out with the wife having a nice meal, we'll go out and I won't worry about what I'm eating.
Right.
It's also important sometimes just to have a meal off, and I'm not looking at the menu thinking how can I fit this in with my diet. We're just out for a nice meal, and we'll have whatever. I've been in the States now for a little while, and we actually went to a cheesecake factory, and that place. That's the easiest. Way to shove calories down your throat.
Oh man, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah. It's unbelievable. I couldn't believe how many calories were in everything.
But,
not that much money, to be honest.
Yeah, it's so good too.
Yeah, no doubt.
Piece of cheesecake's over 1,000 calories.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
Easy.
Hey, so what? I mean, I know you want to be optimistic. What do you think your chances are this week? Are you gonna win? Are you gonna score in the top 5, or where are you going to end up? I mean, give me your crystal ball.
My goal is top 5. My best finish at Worlds came in 2020 when I finished 6th. So my goal is to get top 5. There's a couple of big hitters who have won it previous years. We've got, like you said, Tom Stoltman from Scotland. He's a 2-time champion. He'll be in the mix to win. And we've got Mitch Hooper from Canada, who's the defending champion. He's also in really good form. But past that, I think the field is wide open for those places. To get in that top 5 for me is the big goal, because it just gives me a little bit of improvement. Like we said, it's always nice to see improvement year on year, and for me, trying to get into that top 5 has always been a big goal of mine.
Does that boost you in the sponsorship arena? Will top 5 land you newer, better sponsors, or how's that work?
No, not necessarily. So the sponsorship side of things actually rarely comes down to performance these days, and it's more about how you are as a person, how you promote yourself over on social media and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Of course, it gives you a bit of a bargaining tool if you are kind of top 5 in the world. I'm not going to deny that.
Right.
But most of the time, with my sponsors I work with, in my contract, it's more about obviously promoting the brand, etc.
Yeah.
Rather than needing to finish at a certain spot. But we're really fortunate in the UK. The strongman scene is really strong, and it's opened the path to a lot of new sponsors who weren't in the sport previously, which has obviously allowed people like myself to go full time with this.
Helps if you're willing to wear a bikini on social media as well.
We've talked about.
I think I'd lose sponsors.
It's hard to compete against those girls out there in bikinis that are out there fishing.
I mean, we deal with.
See a lot of them now, right?
Yeah, we deal with this. I mean, honestly, we deal with this on a regular basis. You'll have really good content and, educational content, entertaining content, great photos, and, you get 1,000 likes or whatever. And, the girl that's got a bass like the size of your pinky finger, but she's wearing a bikini and she's got big hooters, and then, she gets 1 million likes. And it's like, where's the content? All it is a TNA shot. There's no content.
She's a lap flounder.
Right. And so, it is a little bit frustrating that you've got to sort of put on a dog and pony show anymore rather than.
Do you manage your social media yourself? Yeah, you mentioned. You mentioned okay, because you mentioned that in the UK strongman team. So are y'all? I know you're individually, obviously competing against each other, but do y'all work kind of as a conglomerate amongst yourselves, maybe with sponsorships, or is it Adam Bishop has these sponsors and then they have their own, just like anything else? Is that how it works?
Exactly. Yeah, it's exactly that. It's very, very much individualistic. We've all got kind of our own sponsors. There's a lot of crossover. A lot of us will have similar sponsors in the space. Most people have got, like a nutrition sponsor, a lifting apparel, your belts and wraps and straps sponsor, a clothing sponsor is common, and you get a couple of outliers. Like, one of my sponsors, for example, is Iveco, the truck company, which is a new one for me. But you get some of these ones that are not necessarily your standard strongman brands that have come into the strongman space recently, just how popular it's been. especially in the UK with the live shows. But no, most of the time we're kind of just going out there and getting our own deals. It's not kind of working as a team per se.
All right, so I'm showing up this week, probably on Saturday, if I had to guess. I'm showing up at the World's Strongest Man. I'm bringing my wife and probably both my kids, but my son especially. My son's 8 years old, and he just loves it. He's got all y'all's posters on the wall, and he last year security just about arrested him because he had to get Brian Shaw's autograph, just had to get it.
Of course.
And he was a good sport about it, so I don't have anything bad to say about him at all. But I'm showing up this year. Okay, I'm showing up, and I'm going to have a Trilogy Outdoor hat. This is the name of our company, Trilogy Outdoors. You're on the Trilogy Outdoor podcast right now, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a Trilogy Outdoor hat, and I'm going to hand it to you, and I'm going to say, how much is it going to cost me for you to take a picture in this Trilogy Outdoor hat, okay? I want a good number from you. I want a reasonable fee, and I want a picture of you in a Trilogy Outdoor hat. Can we make that happen?
Of course we can. We'll trade it for a fishing trip.
All right, now we're talking.
Hang on.
Now we're talking.
Well, Mark and I are going to meet you on Friday
Exactly.
in my boat. We're going to pick you up and
yes.
take you fishing. We're going to have a Trilogy hat and a Trilogy shirt, which probably won't fit.
It's going to be skin
and we're
tight.
going to take you fishing.
Yes.
And we're going to take a picture of you and a fish with a Trilogy Outdoors hat.
There we go. All right, now
There
we
we
got
go.
it.
If this t-shirt's far too small and revealing, maybe we'll get that content you guys.
There you go. There you
That
go.
will help.
Bikini girls.
It'll be like a midriff on him, yeah.
Yeah, it would be a mid-drip. I think that double XL over there, probably you can't get it over your head.
Yeah. All right, Adam. Listen, hey, I want to wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, man.
We're going to be cheering for you. I'm going to be cheering for you on Saturday. Inglis and Mark are going to take you fishing on Friday. I'm going to be cheering for you.
Yep.
But thank you so much for joining us. This was an excellent conversation.
It was.
Appreciate you. Appreciate your advice, and appreciate you coming and helping our economy here at the beach. This is a big thing for us. World's Strongest Man.
It is big for us. And I'm gonna tell you, Adam, we're gonna do two things here. First off, we're gonna catch you a fish over here in the U.S. on Friday, but also we're gonna break our streak that we started last year, and that was that Tom didn't make the cut through the
That's right.
third round. So we're gonna change that with you, buddy.
Yeah, we're changing.
We're changing it.
Jesus, you put a curse on me, boys.
Yeah.
You put a curse
Yep,
on
we're
me.
changing it.
We're gonna get through these heats just
Nah.
for you.
Pressure, no pressure.
No pressure at all, buddy. No pressure at all. So the senator has your contact info, I believe, here.
Yeah, I've got
it. So what we'll do is, we'll let you go and get back to your life, and probably you got to go eat dinner or something, or what would you call it now? It's probably still
dinner.
Well, yeah,
Dinner.
We don't even have dinner.
lunch and dinner. Yeah.
I've got meal number 4 on the go right now. So.
Yeah,
There you
and
go.
then we'll reach out to you. We'll shoot you a text and give you some information on Friday, and hopefully things can work out. I mean, the offer's there. You don't have to do anything crazy. The offer's going to be there, and hopefully things work out for you. Get that lay day or whatever. And you're more than welcome to come down and fish with us. We'll take you out for an hour, 3 hours, however long you can make it. And go have a good time. But we do appreciate you taking the time. I know your schedule's hectic right now and trying to get ready for this week. And I know, like I said, mentally I'm sure this thing is just as grueling, far as much or probably as much, if not more, than the physical part of it. So we do wish you the best of luck. And maybe we can take some of that stress out of you on Friday with a fishing rod in your hand.
Definitely a good time.
That's perfect. That's what I use fishing for. Yeah, just like to mentally switch off and not think about lifting things and just get outside. That's the nice thing about fishing. You can just not concentrate too much and enjoy yourself. So thank you very much, guys. Thanks for chatting to me. I appreciate
You're
you having me
welcome.
on.
Good luck, Adam.
All right, Adam.
Good luck. Take care.
All right, man, that was fun. That was a great conversation.
It was.
Great conversation, and far more of an outdoorsman than our buddy Tom was. But Tom was great. But he knew all about that carp fishing. I've been trying to get carp fishing up on the screen here to show y'all the competition because I've watched it and it's insane. But the problem is if I do put it up on that screen and it starts playing, it's going to play into the board. So I didn't want to do that. I hadn't got that figured out. You asked if I edited or he edited.
Okay.
I'm learning. It's been a gradual learning process for me.
Nice guy. I'm going to say he's going to finish top 5. I got a good feeling for him. I think the Trilogy Outdoor podcast is lucky.
Yep.
and I'm going to say top 5.
Yeah, I'm
going to go with 3. I'm going to go with number 3.
I'm not going to call a spot, but I'm calling top 5. And I don't know if you actually did watch. I've been watching some videos since we confirmed this, and there are a lot of people that are saying that he's in the top 5 and one of the best.
Excellent.
He's deadlifting a lot of weight, over 1,000 pounds. It's pretty impressive.
That's a big weight, for sure.
A lot.
That's a big weight.
But it's crazy when you get out there with the stone and all that. It's just so different. I know they can train for it, but it's just, it just seems so hard.
Trucks.
And I did want to ask him this. In this situation, when he starts on Wednesday or Thursday, whatever day, you can't have a hiccup.
Nah.
You can't rebound from a hiccup.
It's over.
It's not like you can shoot some 3-pointers and get caught back up.
Yeah.
If you mess up, you're done.
Yeah.
And that's what happened last year with Tom. I think he said, you were there, but I think he did have a hiccup in something.
Yeah, he did. I can't remember what it was. Renee was there.
And he fell way back, and then it put him in a position where he couldn't make the cut. So
that's right.
Well, hey, do we want to save talking about the New York?
We probably should bring Mark. Mark, you want to come back? When can we?
Yeah, we'll have to have him back.
Let's do it on.
We could do next week because Mark and I'll be able to talk about all the fish we catch Friday.
I was going to say.
That's actually a great idea.
Yeah, I was going to say Saturday or Sunday. Y'all could talk about fishing.
Now you got to remember, Mark, we're going fishing for flounder.
That's it.
Not fluke.
Not fluke. Yeah,
Listen, I'm a city boy. I grew up with a concrete backyard, so.
All right,
good deal.
Fishing never happened.
Oh, really?
Seriously,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I tell you, one thing we do have right now that we're not going to fish for on Friday but weak fish, which is y'all call them weekies up there. They catch them in the bay, in the harbor right there, and y'all catch real big ones. Well, right now we're catching pretty big ones, 4 to 6 pounds. That's big for us, but up there is like 8 to 11 pounds.
They have 8-pound weak fish in New York.
Oh yeah, they catch them. Yeah, that's their. It's like a speckled trout, like a red drum. That's theirs.
I don't think you'd want to eat anything out of those waters, especially the East River or the Hudson.
No.
I don't think so either.
No. And I got a friend that does guided striper fishing right up there. He does striper fishing right there and does good. But yeah, your fluke so you have flounder, which are your fluke or our flounder, and then you have a flounder up there that is different than any of the fish we have. It's got lips. He's a flatfish, but he's not anything that we catch. But hopefully we get to show you a couple different species on Friday.
I'm looking forward to this.
The weather's really nice. Yeah, the weather's looking nice.
Yeah, so what we're fishing in on Friday, real quick, let's give a shout-out to Georgetown County Law Enforcement and our good friend Sheriff Carter Weaver, who's, by the way, up for re-election again this year as well. We got and of course, the senator's up for re-election, and we know you're going to vote for him. But anyway, it's the Law Enforcement Appreciation Tournament that Carter puts on. It's a great tournament. It includes SLED, Coast Guard, DNR, I believe, let's see who else, County Sheriff,
State Troopers,
Georgetown Police, State Troopers, and I'm trying to remember if there was any.
Did you say DNR?
I said DNR. Yep, and so what they'll, you're supposed to reside in Georgetown County, because dude, there's a big payout. Like there's a lot of prizes.
Really?
Oh, I'm not kidding. We won last year. Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we won. I think Chris won. Oh no, it wasn't that big a payout.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that big a payout. No, it's but the prizes. I mean, we got great. I've been on the phone. My phone's been dinging left and right because a lot of great companies are sponsoring raffle prizes, and so once we sign up, we all get tickets, and so there's great prizes.
I'm looking forward to this.
It's a good time, and there's a lot of junk talking. I was with DNR on the water. They came up. That's the Department of Natural Resources. They came up to the boat earlier, and they're already talking junk because we won last year, so they're gunning for me.
They got no chance.
I thought they were coming to write me a ticket, but they're gunning for me.
They got no chance.
It may after you beat them.
Yeah.
So, but I stuck my foot in my mouth, and I got Jason Burton, who's a real good guide. That's where we're actually going to leave from on Friday. Is his place down on the Marsh Walk, Merle's Inlet Fishing Charters, between Wahoo's and Drunken Jacks. That's where we're going to leave from.
Gotcha.
He's fishing, and he's got one of the lieutenants from DNR and Tommy Buchanan fishing with him. So he's going to be tough competition. So. Right. But they're all Carter Weaver is a great fisherman too, the sheriff. But we're going to have a good time, and hopefully we end up with Mr. Adam on the boat with us for a couple hours. That'd be fun.
That would
Yeah,
be
I
fun.
think that would be
We would
great.
have to give him part of the boat to himself, but
Yeah.
it's a good thing I got the new 25-foot boat because we got a big front bow. We can give him the whole area up there because he's not going to make it past the console.
No, he won't.
He will not make it past the console.
340.
Yeah,
Yep.
all right, so plan on next weekend. Let's catch up again, and let's get an after-action report on
Yep.
your fishing trip, and we'll get a little more from the detective, the New York City detective.
Yep, retired, and then now he's retired detective, but now current or soon to be South Carolina Highway Patrolman. All right, well, listen, thank you, Mark, for joining us. Great to meet you.
Thank you for having me.
Senator, thank you for taking the time coming over here this afternoon. And, of course, Adam Bishop, thank you, my friend. Best of luck to you. Thank you, Myrtle Beach Chamber of Commerce, for setting that up. And y'all come down and visit Myrtle Beach. Come down, go get your tickets. Go down and check out this Tough Man contest. Great contest. And we're going to be back next weekend. You heard it right here. We're going to be talking fins, fur, feathers, and mussels on Trilogy Outdoors Podcast. Hey, y'all, Captain E here with Southern Anglers Radio Show. And I'll tell you what, I am super excited to be down in the Pond Road Storage in Murrells Inlet. I'm located within moments of either going to the river or going to put in the inlet. I'm keeping that Key West 250 Bay Reef indoors, and it is staying in great shape. I only have to wash the boat once now, and that's when I put it up and not before I take it to go fishing. But you can get incredible options here. 20-foot wide, 50-foot deep with 14-foot roll-up doors, a most state-of-the-art security system to keep you that peace of mind on all your products that you may keep in these storage buildings. You've got climate-controlled or non-climate controlled outdoor storage for trailers, RVs, and such. You can't go wrong. 843-855-7375. Give Chris Collins a good call down there. We can't wait. We love broadcasting down here inside the storage building, and you need to come down here and check it out too. Come down. Pond Road Storage, right here in Murrells Inlet.
Trilogy Outdoors Podcast is a product of Trilogy Outdoors Media. All views and opinions of our hosts and guests are not necessarily those of our sponsors. Trilogy Outdoors is produced and edited by Trilogy Outdoors Media. Be sure to follow us on all the podcast platforms as well as our social media pages on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And also don't forget our other brands, Southern English Radio Show and Walk 'Em All Outdoor Magazine. To find more information, visit TrilogyOutdoorsMedia.com. And remember, if it's anything dealing with fins, fur, and feathers, you're going to find it right here on Trilogy Outdoors.